Tonight, a teenager shames the world leaders on climate change.
How dare you continue to look away and come here saying that you're doing enough?
Greta Thunberg center stage at the UN. The affordability gap and your vote. We break down two approaches to income tax.
The biggest peacetime repatriation this country's ever known.
What's next for 500,000 travelers stranded by Thomas Cook? And an exclusive interview with Masai Ujiri in Tanzania.
Was there an element of racism to what happened there, a big element?
A candid conversation with the president of the Toronto Raptors on a repeat victory, losing Kawhi, and that shove. This is The National. They came from every corner of the globe. World leaders from nations big and small, all in New York today for the United Nations Climate Action Summit. Action is the key word there. Big promises were made by presidents and prime ministers, but all of that was drowned out by the passionate voice of a teenage girl. Stephen D'Souza was there.
I shouldn't be up here. I should be back in school on the other side of the ocean. Yet you all come to us young people for hope. How dare you?
Just days after mobilizing millions of the world's youth in protest, today Greta Thunberg voiced their collective outrage.
You have stolen my dreams and my childhood with your empty words.
The 16-year-old Swedish activist used the floor of the United Nations to condemn world leaders.
We are in the beginning of a mass extinction, and all you can talk about is money and fairy tales of eternal economic growth. How dare you?
Excellencies.
The Secretary General told countries to come with concrete plans. About 60 leaders offered specific steps to reduce emissions, but one of the world's biggest emitters was silent. Thunberg was surprised as anyone to see Donald Trump appear at the summit. The U.S. president spent less than 15 minutes listening to world leaders before departing for his own separate summit on religious freedom, a snub that loomed large.
I think that people are looking at their political leaders as as a source of inspiration, and I think this is an opportunity that some people are missing right now.
Montreal's mayor spoke about cities' efforts to fight climate change and said Thunberg's message struck a chord.
Ultimately, we need to think ahead of the future generation, and as political leaders, this is what we should have in mind all the time, not only the today, but the future.
Despite her anger, Thunberg was also determined and optimistic.
The world is waking up, and change is coming whether you like it or not.
Environmental groups say today's summit will do little to usher in that change. Calling today's announcements disappointing, they say world leaders know our house is on fire, but they're adding more fuel to the flames. Stephen D'Souza, CBC News at the United Nations.
So Greta Thunberg spoke for almost 5 minutes at the UN today. Her pleas were forceful, fervent, and oh so eloquent. So here is more of what she said for the record.
For more than 30 years, the science has been crystal clear. How dare you continue to look away and come here saying that you're doing enough when the politics and solutions needed are still nowhere in sight? You say you hear us and that you understand the urgency. But no matter how sad and angry I am, I do not want to believe that. Because if you really understood the situation and still kept on failing to act, then you would be evil, and that I refuse to believe. You are failing us, but the young people are starting to understand your betrayal. The eyes of all future generations are upon you. And if you choose to fail us, I say we will never forgive you. We will not let you get away with this. Right here, right now, is where we draw the line. The world is waking up, and change is coming whether you like it or not. Thank you.
So Greta Thunberg will be in Canada at the end of the week at a climate march in Montreal. Hard to know how big it will be, but Quebec's largest school board has canceled classes to allow students to attend. The National will be live in Montreal Friday, gauging the measure of the moment. Right now, let's get you right back on the campaign trail. So Rosie, today's promises seem clearly designed to hit Canadians right where they live.
Yeah, we're talking about how voters pay for prescription drugs, Adrienne, and whether a pipeline would go through their province, for instance. But let's start with your actual housing and today's Conservative pledge to help you afford it.
Today, owning a home is more difficult and expensive than ever before.
The Conservatives say they will fix the mortgage stress test that gauges affordability, so first-time homebuyers aren't rejected unnecessarily.
Many experts agree that the stress test has gone too far.
CIBC says it snuffed out up to $15 billion in new mortgages just last year. Scheer also wants to keep the test off your renewal. Right now, if you want to change your lender, you have to go through it.
For our first-time homebuyers, we will increase maximum amortization periods on insured mortgages to 30 years.
That's up from the current 25 years, and it will reduce monthly payments. But just remember, the Conservatives brought in the 25-year limit to guard against a crash.
It will mean that some people will not buy into the market.
Scheer would also investigate how money laundering drives up home prices, an alternative to a foreign buyer taxes, which cool the market.
We will protect your home and its value.
The Liberal campaign rolled out a big promise of its own, something they've been talking about for months now, on national pharmacare. We'll hear the details of that in a moment, but first, David Common hears from Canadians, from you, on the need for affordable drugs.
Prescription drugs are so expensive, Canadians spend more on them than on doctors.
Blood thinners, antidepressant, a couple other things I don't
One
know.
in 5 Canadians struggles to pay. And Beverly Moore worries when she's discharged, how's she going to be able to afford her drugs?
Do you have any idea how much that'll cost?
Probably hundreds of dollars a month.
Can you afford something like that?
Not really.
Does that consume you?
Yeah, pretty much.
6 in 10 Canadians do have at least partial private coverage, including Klasa Bienmat, who works in healthcare and sees firsthand among patients and friends what happens when there is no coverage.
They cut on other expenses in order to afford to pay for their prescription drugs.
What do you think about that?
For such a rich country, and for a country where we have universal health coverage, I think it's long overdue.
And when you can't pay, you go without, as Karen Jackman has done.
Some days I could not leave my apartment, literally could not leave my apartment. Other days, you know, you go through it, right? You just do the best you can.
1 in 10 Canadians do as she has, so the idea of pharmacare as a fix is often welcome, even if people have heard it before.
I definitely think it's a big factor when going into looking at voting and stuff.
Of course, promising some form of pharmacare is much easier and cheaper than actually delivering it. David Common, CBC News, Toronto.
So does the Liberal plan fit the bill? Salima Shivji takes a look.
In a riding the Liberals hope to hang on to, Justin Trudeau rallied this crowd on the heels of a major policy announcement.
A re-elected Liberal government will work with provinces and territorial partners to implement national pharmacare.
A promise sorely lacking in details, and one the Liberals have made in the past in previous campaigns. This time, it's $6 billion over 4 years to start talks to create a pharmacare program with a national drug agency and a national list of covered medication.
See how big you're getting.
But that same pool of money will also be used to help more Canadians get a family doctor, measures that require negotiations with the provinces.
A $6 billion down payment.
The Liberal leader didn't elaborate on that down payment, nor did he specify costs, deflecting every question about the details with a political attack.
Who do you want standing up for you? Who do you want negotiating with Doug Ford when it comes to your health care?
A swipe at Ontario's progressive Conservative premier that plays right into Trudeau's re-election game plan. Even so, the thin policy left plenty of fodder for his actual opponents.
Trudeau has said a lot of pretty words, but really gave empty promises.
This is a promise that Liberals have made since I was a teenager.
And after bringing up Doug Ford's name more than a dozen times today, it's unclear how Justin Trudeau hopes to get provincial leaders around a table to make a deal on pharmacare or anything else. Salima Shivji, CBC News, Hamilton.
Now to the NDP. Their leader gave an interview to Vashi Kapela's, host of Power and Politics. He expanded on his policy about pipelines, and that made some news. Here's Vashi.
Thank you.
NDP leader Jagmeet Singh's promise to Quebecers to give them the power to block any pipeline didn't come as a surprise. The party needs to keep its 14 seats there.
There has to be social acceptability. There has to be communities that are on side.
But Singh didn't stop there. In an interview with CBC News, he revealed he'd extend what is essentially a veto to every single province.
I would not impose a project on any province. If we want to move forward with a project, there has to be the buy-in from all the people involved.
Quebec's premier appeared pleased with the proposal, but his counterpart in oil-dependent Alberta called Singh's comments stunning and said they would undermine national unity. Experts say Singh's proposal flies in the face of the Constitution, which gives the feds outright authority to build infrastructure projects in the national interest.
Well, this country was built on railways. This country was built on canals. And to say that a provincial leader could have stopped that would mean that Canada does not exist.
Should the federal government not be able to deem what it believes is in the national interest?
I think the national interest has to coincide with making the efforts to have people that are impacted believe in the project. And that's hard work, but that's kind of the beauty of federalism, that it's not something that should be where we're imposing decisions.
Singh may not become Canada's next prime minister, but he could hold the balance of power in a minority government, which is why his promise to cede federal power to the provinces is taken seriously and scrutinized as such. Vashi Kapelos, CBC News, Ottawa.
So during this campaign, other leaders have also talked about how energy projects would get approved in this country, something that has proved challenging. Justin Trudeau clearly has the most experience trying to get a pipeline built. He's not only approved one, he used tax dollars to buy one. And he's talked about the social license needed to do so.
Indigenous Canadians have a range of perspectives from one community to the next on various projects, and what's really important is that we engage in meaningful conversations about how we're going to build a better future that includes them.
The Liberals also responded to concerns in BC around the Trans Mountain expansion by investing more in marine protection and spill response, but ultimately the decision was the federal government's. Andrew Scheer has said he'd like to see an east-west energy corridor, a dedicated space for infrastructure projects like pipelines or hydroelectric projects. And just last week, he said a Conservative government would assert federal jurisdiction when faced with objections from provinces or Indigenous communities.
Referring those types of jurisdictional questions to the Supreme Court right away so that we can get certainty. Instead of watching these court cases move slowly up and up, being appealed.
We've got lots more campaign coverage ahead, and the focus, again, affordability. Peter Armstrong's going to take a good look at the Liberal and Conservative plans for income tax cuts. For now, back to you, Adrienne.
All right, Rosie. Thomas Cook was one of the world's biggest travel companies until suddenly it wasn't. After 178 years, the firm that helped create the package tour industry has left 21,000 people out of work. And as Cameron McIntosh tells us, hundreds of thousands of travelers stranded.
Flying straight into insolvency, one of Thomas Cook's final flights landing in Manchester from Orlando. Grounded for good, passengers disembarking as flight crews learned they no longer had jobs.
As soon as we landed, they were all crying. It's devastating.
Very emotional, the cabin crew were all crying, a bit somber, to be honest.
All told, leaving about 600,000 travelers stranded over 16 countries. While thousands more with bookings today found this. This couple lost their honeymoon.
Yeah, we're absolutely gutted. We've looked forward to this for a long time.
Today, all of its storefronts are locked. With a business model that still relied heavily on bricks and mortar, Thomas Cook had a hard time adapting to the online age. Started in 1841, Thomas Cook expanded across Europe, survived the wars, and grew to be one of the world's biggest and best-known travel firms.
Don't just book it, Thomas Cook it.
In recent years, though, debt crushed the company, as its CEO made big bonuses.
It is deeply distressing to me that it has not been possible to save one of the most loved brands in travel.
The British government says it's going to investigate.
Hiya, Airways flight.
Meanwhile, the UK has sent officials to foreign airports and leased 45 jets to get its citizens home in what it's calling Operation Matterhorn.
150,000 people is the biggest peacetime repatriation this country's ever known, and we'll try and do it as quickly and as smoothly as possible, though it won't all be plain sailing, I know.
People started going home this afternoon.
I'm so happy. I want to go home.
Other countries are making similar plans. It'll take days to move everyone, while about 1 million travelers with future bookings are being told there will be refunds eventually. Cameron McIntosh, CBC News, London.
Interestingly, Global Affairs Canada says it is unaware of any Canadian citizens affected by the company's demise. But as Katie Nicholson explains, when a travel agency goes bankrupt, there's always the potential for turbulence.
This is an Air India 777.
In his 3+ decades in the travel industry, Paul Dhaliwal has seen a lot of companies permanently grounded.
This is not a good news. When one airline goes, capacity goes, demand still there, but capacity is less, the price will go up.
But Dhaliwal says it'll have limited effect on most Canadians.
Because only the carrier which was affiliated with the Thomas Cook was Air Transit.
But for some Canadians who purchased future flights from the agency, there is hope.
It's early days, so we don't know how many consumers are affected, but if there are, there is consumer protection for them.
Can I see your travel visas? We were never told we needed them.
The Travel Industry Council of Ontario, or TICO, regulates agencies and holds airlines to account.
All travel retailers and wholesalers in Ontario are required to file their financial statements with us. We review them, ensure they're financially fit.
But Ontario is one of only 3 provinces with such built-in rules to protect the vacationing public.
If your airline goes broke, there's a travel compensation fund.
And you don't have to live in Ontario. You're eligible so long as you bought the ticket from an Ontario agency. BC and Quebec also have some traveler consumer protection built in, but that's it. TICO would like to see a national framework in place.
That would be something nice in the future.
Dhaliwal agrees, but questions whether there's enough political will to make it fly. Katie Nicholson, CBC News, Toronto.
More news ahead on the national. Anti-vaxxers swarm Toronto City Hall as councillors debate new rules for getting kids vaccinated. And we begin 2 nights of special coverage, my exclusive interview with Toronto Raptors president Masai Ujiri, far from Toronto. I think there are a whole bunch of Canadians who might imagine, I bet Masai Ujiri this summer has got his feet up by a lake somewhere, kind of basking in the glory of this year. And yet, you know, we're sitting here in Tanzania. Why? Don't miss our conversation. We're back in 2 minutes. crossing the Rubicon, nearing the tipping point. That's the talk now from Democrats weighing impeachment, peppering the White House with subpoenas amid reports Donald Trump tried to get a foreign government to damage a political rival again. Here's Paul Hunter with Trump's response.
Good morning. Truth is, it all depends on what or who you want to believe. The U.S. president?
I didn't do it.
Versus evidence to the contrary. To recap, it's about a phone call by Donald Trump in July to the new president of Ukraine, overheard by someone in U.S. intelligence, leading to a whistleblower complaint on what Trump said. Say some reports he was leveraging U.S. aid to pressure Ukraine into investigating Joe Biden and his son Hunter, possibly for Trump's own political benefit and potentially against U.S. law. Said Trump today.
We had a perfect phone call with the president of Ukraine. Everybody knows it. It's just a Democrat witch hunt.
Trump has said Biden's name indeed came up in that phone call, but
there was no pressure put on them whatsoever. I put no pressure on them whatsoever. I could have. I think it would probably, possibly have been okay if I did.
His broader suggestion, there's dirt to dig up on Biden and his son, who had a financial interest in the country.
If a Republican ever did what Joe Biden did, if a Republican ever said what Joe Biden said, they'd be getting the electric chair by right now.
Biden denies any wrongdoing. Ukraine says there's no evidence Biden did anything wrong. Trump himself has offered no evidence. Meanwhile, the U.S. Congress has been blocked from even seeing the whistleblower report by Trump's own top intelligence official.
Are you willing to clear this up by releasing the whistleblower report, sir? Quiet.
As demands for the report grow, so too pressure on Democrats to take action. And with that, questions putting them in a familiar quandary. Is this impeachable? If so, should they? If they fail to act, say some, in the face of such clear allegations of presidential abuse of power, well, then what? Paul Hunter, CBC News, Washington.
Okay, to some other stories we're following tonight. New details are emerging about the arrest of Meng Wanzhou. The Huawei executive appeared in BC Supreme Court today as her lawyers try to access records pertaining to her arrest at Vancouver's airport last December. They want to see if officials abused immigration rules. That is a claim the government lawyers refute. And anti-vaccine advocates clashed with medical professionals at Toronto City Hall today as council and city officials debated new strategies to combat vaccine hesitancy.
My body, my choice. Yes.
So dozens attended the meeting protesting Toronto's public health motion that school children should go unvaccinated only for medical reasons. The city approved the recommendations, but nothing will happen until the province weighs in. Much more news still ahead, including a first for Prince Harry, Meghan, and baby Archie. But first, our trip to Tanzania and an exclusive interview with Toronto Raptors president Masai Ujiri. He was the maestro behind this moment, but moments later, when he was stopped by a sheriff's deputy for trying to get on the court, his big moment was almost spoiled. What happened on that court? Our conversation courtside in Tanzania at his Giants of Africa camp. Next. Oh, look at that. In these times of global anxiety, who couldn't use a reminder of a feel-good moment like that? When just politics and protest took a backseat to a party. Well, there is a very important date on the horizon for Canadians. This Sunday, training camp begins for the Toronto Raptors, and fans can start to dream. Could the now Kawhi Leonard-less team do it again? The National had unprecedented access to Masai Ujiri, the man who just might know.
They're one win away from their first ever NBA title.
All of Canada knows how Masai Ujiri spent his spring.
Lowry, Siakam.
The maestro of a huge moment, the Toronto Raptors' historic NBA win.
Canada, the NBA title is yours.
A first for Canada, and were Canadians ever into it? Ujiri had reason to smile. He deserves much of the credit for that win. From pulling off that risky trade for Kawhi Leonard,
believe in the city, believe in yourselves,
to building a roster that turned out to be greater than the sum of its parts. But there were complications. Allegations from the U.S. that Ujiri pushed an Oakland officer the night the Raptors won it all. The panic, then the despair of fans who could not woo Kawhi to stay.
Thank all of Toronto, the city, the country.
Welcome.
But as all that swirled, Masai Ujiri found time for his treasured program, the Giants of Africa. Basketball camps for young, hopeful players across the continent. Camps about so much more than basketball. This year, he took them to Cameroon, Mali, Morocco, South Sudan, and Somalia. He even took the NBA trophy back home to Nigeria with the hopes of inspiring a nation.
How are you?
Good morning.
Okay? Morning. You doing okay?
Yeah, I am. Good shirt.
Yeah.
We caught up with Masai Ujiri at one of the camps in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. Fresh off the heels of this amazing win you had, I think there are a whole bunch of Canadians who might imagine, I bet Masai Ujiri this summer has got his feet up by a lake somewhere, kind of basking in the glory of this year. And yet, you know, we're sitting here in Tanzania, you've been crisscrossing this continent. Why?
Why? Because I think the youth need this. Yeah, and what better time to come off a championship to send messages. Yeah, send messages to the change that you want on the continent, the change that you want to instill in this youth, so that it registers in them. The only way for this continent to be great is you guys, okay? Always remember that. The majority of Africa is you. This is my happy hour, this is my golf, this is my whatever other people do, and this is what it is for me.
And you get to hear that sound.
And you get to hear that sound.
Those kids are laughing, those balls are going.
It's an incredible time.
Where does the funding come from?
I've basically negotiated my salary where part of it is for Giants of Africa. If I'm making $20, I say $3. I negotiate higher just to get the money for this. And it's one of the biggest things that I really appreciate because it built this, it started this.
What's your best moment from this tour so far?
If I'm to pick one moment on this trip so far, I would say going back to Zaria with the trophy and giving my parents the trophy was incredible for me. For my dad to look at me and tell me that I make him feel big, those things were so powerful. That's me personally. Hey, Toronto everywhere. Yeah.
He grew up in Nigeria. That connection to Africa courses through him.
Okay, we have to get this jersey off.
Never a player in the NBA, but a scout initially. He still looks for and finds talent. He brought the likes of African-born Pascal Siakam, Serge Ibaka, and coaching staff to the Raptors. To see them be a part of that championship win was extraordinary. Can you take me to that moment when it worked, when you won? I'm wondering what the 12-year-old Masai in you was doing in that moment.
My first instinct when we won was to go find my wife, and I thought about my kids. They were not at the away game, they were in Toronto. And the second thing that came to me was Africa won, Canada won. Like we proved to people that you don't have to come from a certain place to win.
And when they won that night, something odd happened. The Oakland Sheriff's Office says Masai Ujiri shoved a deputy twice as he tried to get past him to the court to celebrate. There may yet be charges. What happened on that court?
It's still going on, and I know who I am as a person, and I respect authority and respect obviously the police, and I won't comment on anything like before.
What does that mean? You know who you are?
I'm only trying to celebrate like winning a championship. That's all I was trying to do, and I know the person that I am.
You had your credentials? You showed them?
Yeah, I think I'll leave that till it's all said and done.
Is that your decision, or has the NBA said not to talk?
That's my decision.
One of the discussions that's been happening around you, not with you, because you're not talking publicly about it, is that was there an element of racism to what happened there, a big element? Have you felt racism in your job?
To be honest, no. Yeah, I stay focused, and to be honest, my focus is winning, and if somebody comes and is a certain way to me, that's not what comes to my mind at all, so I don't even give it a chance, and I think that helps me.
Have to ask you too about the Toronto heartbreak. How did Toronto lose Kawhi? How did you lose Kawhi?
If he wants to go home, he's gone home. I couldn't tell Toronto, if there was a team in Lagos, Nigeria, or in Zaria, Nigeria, there was an NBA team there, I don't know if I would stay in Toronto. There are some callings in life, and some things that pull people one way or the other. And I completely understand that.
But it must have been more complicated than Kawhi saying, I want to go home, and you saying, oh, okay, go ahead.
Yeah, you're going to try and convince the player. You're trying to keep the player. There's plenty part of him that wanted to stay. And
what part of him wanted to stay?
Oh, winning the city, everything. He won in the city. He had one of the greatest shots in NBA history now.
Simmons, is this the dagger?
The fans, an unbelievable parade.
Look at it, it's crazy.
Yeah, those things, I know Kawhi, I know he really thought about all those things, but at the end of the day, he made a decision, and his decision was to go back home.
How did you find out about it? Where were you? How did you hear?
I think I was in Rwanda. I was in Rwanda, and I spoke to them on the phone. I spoke to him, and I spoke to his uncle.
How did you break it to Drake?
No, I think Kawhi has a relationship with Drake, so I'm sure he
told him himself?
Yeah, I'm sure he told him himself.
Who was the hardest conversation, sort of letting people know about Kawhi? Who was the hardest person to tell?
Honestly, it's not that difficult for me. Some people call me Stoneheart, or that's the business that we've put ourselves to do. If
you didn't cry a little bit?
Oh no. No way, not even close. There's no way I can cry because a player left. You go find the next player. Yeah, I'll cry here. When you look at those kids in their eyes, I see myself, and I see the opportunity that God has given me, the NBA has given me, and In your dreams, you know, they are wild dreams, but in your dreams, you wish that all of them can have that, at least have the opportunity to try.
He wants the kids to dream of getting good enough at basketball to secure scholarships and good educations and good jobs. But once a scout, always a scout. And just maybe the next star is waiting for the Raptors only, of course.
At the end of the day, we play sports to win. We can hold hands all we want and do Giants of Africa all we want. Sports is done to win. Yeah, and I want to win. And whoever I'm bringing to the Toronto Raptors, it's to win.
So the presidents of the other teams must look at you and think, this guy has a magic formula. Are they a little bit jealous of you? Are they?
No. There's never any that kind of talk. You know?
Nobody gives you the gears about coming over here?
Sometimes, you know, like sometimes it's seen as an advantage. Or sometimes it's like, oh, okay, he has access to all of this stuff, but I think they know.
You have a pipeline.
Yeah, there's with Giants of Africa, obviously, I've seen many kids, but I think they know why I do it.
Your future. I mean, so many people were convinced that your friend Barack Obama would really work hard to try to get you to go to the Washington Wizards. How hard did he try?
We talked about it. But no, our friendship is not that way. He's been an incredible mentor to me, and his friendship is not to convince me. Yeah, his friendship is to give me all the best information to be the best leader where I am. And it's incredible, the advice and the kind of advice he gives. He's a remarkable person, and I really appreciate that. But no, I talk to him far more beyond, you know, like those things.
Barack Obama!
It was great to see him at the Raptors game. Was that a big deal for you?
A huge deal. Yeah, it's a huge deal. I say this to have him there. I'll be proud of that, you know, for the rest of my life. It's something that I'll never, ever forget.
And people really did wonder if you'd done everything you wanted to accomplish in Toronto, if you were tempted to move on. Were you?
I wasn't. Yeah, I wasn't. If there came a time, you know, I think people would understand, you know, like why. But I know. This is where my kids were born, you know. This has become part of me, you know. Canada has become part of me, and I love that.
Championship number 2?
Hey, we're gonna get it. I don't know when it will be, but we're gonna get it. Just like I said, we'll get the first one, and I said I didn't know when I will get it, but we will. Guarantee you we will. You know, like I have the ultimate confidence that at the time will come.
Okay. Thank you very, very much, Masai. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you.
So as you saw there, that interview was in Tanzania a short while ago during one of the Giants of Africa camps. What exactly happens at those camps? Have a look. This is a seed planted by Masai Ujiri. That basketball can be a passport to something huge. Some of the top coaches from the NBA and WNBA putting full attention on kids who need a chance.
You guys have to make the country better.
Words can lift in a place where the reality of life can sometimes crush these kids. The making of giants, tomorrow on The National. And next, vying for your vote. The Liberals and Conservatives have both proposed new tax cuts. So who benefits from each plan? We're back in 2 minutes.
It's that time in politics when party leaders take a particular interest in your pockets and how much money they can keep in them. True to tradition, Andrew Scheer and Justin Trudeau have both proposed some major tax cuts. Who they target, though, tells us a lot about campaign strategy. So Peter Armstrong breaks down the Liberal and Conservative plans, tracks the benefits, and the surprise here, both are actually a break from the past.
Thank you, guys. Hey, good to see you as well.
The economic battleground of this election is now clear. For all their differences, the Liberals and Conservatives actually sound very similar on tax policy.
The middle class and those working hard to join it have more money tax-free.
Putting more money in the pockets of Canadians so they can get ahead.
2/3 of Canadians make less than $46,000 a year, so no wonder both parties have staked out the lowest tax bracket. The Conservatives will cut the tax rate in the lowest bracket from 15% now to 13.75% over the next 4 years. They say that saves the average family $850. The Liberals will keep that tax rate where it is, but they'll raise the amount of tax-free income Canadians get. The so-called basic personal amount is now around $12,000. The Liberal plan would raise that to $15,000. They say that will save the average family $585 a year and push 40,000 Canadians above the poverty line. So how do these benefits shake out? The Liberal proposal compared to the Conservative plan. The Conservative benefits spread more equally across the income brackets, while the Liberal plan stacks most of the benefits to lower-income Canadians. But unlike previous campaigns dominated by boutique tax credits, experts say both these plans are broad-based and far-reaching.
A fairer approach, a simpler approach, is preferable to what we have seen, which is increasingly micro-targeted boutiques, which frankly, again, are designed for their political impact rather than their policy soundness.
But mostly, these two plans show where many Canadian voters really are, squeezed, making less than $46,000 a year, and sure to take a long look at a tax cut in whatever form it may take. Peter Armstrong, CBC News, Toronto.
Both the Liberal and the Conservative plans will cost roughly the same, about $5.5 to $6 billion. There's another similarity. Both parties so far haven't said explicitly how they're going to pay for it.
Still to come on The National, the Supreme Court of Canada hears cases outside of Ottawa. We'll explain why that is such a big deal. Plus, the first royal tour for Harry, Meghan, and baby Archie. We're back in 2 minutes. Let's get back to more developing stories. At least 40 civilians attending a wedding party were killed following anti-Taliban raids in eastern Afghanistan last night. Relatives gathered outside a hospital today where at least a dozen others were being treated for injuries. Officials say the civilian deaths happened in the building next to a Taliban hideout, which was being struck by Afghan forces with the backing of American airstrikes. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex began their first official tour since the birth of their son, Archie. And huge crowds turned out to see Harry and Meghan in Cape Town. The couple visited a museum devoted to the history of one neighborhood under apartheid and an organization that teaches self-defense to vulnerable kids. It is the start of a 10-day tour. Still ahead on The National, The Moment Revisited. We showed you this viral video yesterday of a pro wrestler arguing with an RCMP officer. Now the RCMP is changing its story, saying just like pro wrestling, not everything is as it seems. We're back in 2 minutes. The Supreme Court of Canada is taking its show on the road. It will hear cases outside of Ottawa for the first time in almost 145 years. The 9 justices are in Winnipeg this week, and Karen Pauls finds out why.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Supreme Court of Canada.
Chief Justice Richard Wagner traded his red robe for a Jets jersey last night.
For tonight's ceremonial puck drop, please join us.
It's one of the first things he mentioned at a news conference this morning.
While I could never betray my hometown hockey team, I will say that last night's Jets game was a special experience.
Well, as you've been hearing on national news this morning, and certainly
community engagement is a big reason the Supreme Court is here, with 4 public events and meetings with Indigenous, Métis, and Francophone leaders. Some feel there's more than one system of justice in Canada.
There's 3. One is First Nations, one is non-First Nations, and the other one is the government.
The Chief Justice agrees representing all of Canada is important.
It's a question of respect. I think that Canadian people should see themselves in their courts.
I've been a judge now for 17 years, the last 8 on the Supreme Court.
Today, the justices met with students, including these at Children of the Earth High School.
Worst comes to worst, how do you remove a judge?
You can file a complaint with the Canadian Judicial Council. They threw their questions and really some of their stories that I've had a chance to hear about really also, bring home the importance of the work we do.
It would be pretty cool if a First Nations person could make it up to Supreme Judge.
The court will hear 2 appeals while it's here. One about the length of time it takes to get a court decision, and the other about minority language rights in the school system. Karen Pauls, CBC News, Winnipeg.
Next on The National, our moment, what really happened when a WWE star was pulled over by the Alberta RCMP. Next. It turns out there's a twist to a story we brought you last night. Turns out it wasn't exactly what it first appeared. Twitter went into a tizzy after an Alberta RCMP officer was confronted with a pro wrestler acting like she was still in the ring. And a second look at that moment is tonight's moment.
Are you serious right now?
This video, posted by Lacey Evans, appeared to show the pro wrestler getting a speeding ticket.
That's not a citation, is it? Do you know who I am?
I have no idea.
Well, I'm Lacey Evans, so you can go ahead.
Lacey Evans.
WWE superstar, and you should know exactly who I am.
The internet reviled Evans' rudeness, reveled in the Mountie's bemused politeness.
Okay, well, have a good day.
Well, don't you have a terrible day, sir. Canada is terrible, and I can't wait to get back.
And yesterday, Alberta RCMP told us it was a legitimate traffic stop and the officer, quote, engaged in the normal execution of his duties. Well, now they admit Evans asked him to play along with the rehearsed interaction on camera with her WWE persona. In the ring, Evans is a bit of a villain, no kidding. Her tagline is, "Ya nasty." That she was in character was pretty clear.
Yeah, you nasty thing, I'll pay the ticket.
Less clear is that the cop was in character too, which means all of this was as real as a wrestling match.
Welcome to Edmonton.
Oh.
So what you don't know, Adrian, is that
I
our
don't know a lot,
writer-producer Michael Bobby knew that not only was she in character, he was very suspicious of this entire event last night. I believed that these were honest individuals. She did get the traffic ticket, but that is the only part of this that was real, apparently.
Indeed, it's pretty intricate. She issued a statement today saying, "I'm glad you were all entertained, but if you ever try to honestly disrespect or put brothers and sisters in blue in harm, I hope you get what you ask for." So there you go. That is a national for September 23rd. Good night.